to Master T Math class. In this live class, we want to look at the topic in mathematics, which is financial arithmetics, the arithmetic of finance. Financial arithmetics. When we talk about financial arithmetic, we must first know the meaning of profit, because we're dealing with something profit. When we have a transaction, then for us to have a profit, it implies that the selling price must be more than the cost price. So that means we have selling price minus cost price. So we use SP as the selling price, then CP as the cost price. That is, for us to have a profit, we must have selling price minus the cost price. Then also we must understand what we mean by loss. Now, for a loss to occur, it implies that the cost price is more than the selling price. So we have CP minus SP. So cost price minus selling price, that's when there is a loss. Then there's something we need as well. From here, we can derive a formula for percentage profits. Let's write it as percentage profits. That is profit percentage. Percentage profits is same thing as the profits over the cost price times 100%. And since the profit is selling price minus cost price, here this is same thing as writing it as percentage profit equals to selling price minus cost price over cost price times 100%. So either of these two formulas will be useful when calculating percentage profit. Then also same way for percentage loss. Percentage loss, this is equals to the loss over the cost price times 100% from here. So the 2 is over the cost price. So we have the loss over the cost price. And since the loss is cost price minus selling price, then over cost price times 100%. So either of these formulas is useful here under financial arithmetics. Now, when we look at a question here, as an example, they said Ngozi sold an article for 1,755 naira 00 kobo. So let's write out the question and solve. Example here. Ngozi sold an article for 1,755 naira 00 kobo and made a profit of 35% and made a profit of 35%. First of all, find the cost price. Find the cost price. From this particular question now, we identify what we are given, then we identify what we have. We are given the selling price because they say Ngozi sold an article for 1,755 naira. So we can say the selling price SP equals to 1,755 naira 00 kobo here, and made a profit of 35%. So we can say percentage profit has been given from the question, and that's 35%. Now, what you are finding here is a cost price. Then, since we have percentage profit, here we can just write the formula out for percentage profit. And percentage profit is equals to the profit, which is selling price minus cost price, then over the cost price times 100% here. Okay, so next step, we can substitute what we have. The percentage profit has been given to be 35%. Now, from this formula, both sides, we have percentage, so we can drop the percentage. That is, the percentage profit now is 35, then equals to selling price, which is 1,755. We can write it like this, then minus the cost price over the cost price, then times 100. Now, we should be careful here when solving this. We can use brackets because 100, we open this bracket. This is 35 over 1. So when we cross multiply here, we have 35 times CP. We can say this is 35 CP. They're equals to 100, open this bracket. So we have this become 175,500, then minus 100 CP. So now, since we have CP here, then CP here, bring CP together, cost price to one side. The minus 100 come here, become plus. So 35 CP plus 100 CP become 135 CP, then equals to 175,500 here. And then here, to get cost price, we divide both sides by 135. Divide this side by 135. Also divide this side by 135. 135 cancel each other here. So cost price is now equals to, when we press calculator here, we are going to have 1,300 naira, 1,300 naira, 00 kobo. So here we have the cost price of this particular article. So that is that. Okay. Now let's look at another question here to illustrate the percentage loss. So the next question here, example 2. We have, by selling a book at a loss of 19%, by selling a book at a loss of 19%, a man lost, a man lost 11 naira 40 kobo, 11 naira 40 kobo. Find the actual price paid for the book. Find the actual price paid for the book. Then, solution from here, we can state what we have from the question. By selling a book at a loss of 19%, that means percentage loss has been given to be 19%. A man lost 11 naira 40 kobo. That means the loss as well has been given as 11 naira 40 kobo. Then find the actual price. The actual price we are finding here is same thing as the cost price. Then, since we have percentage loss, we can write out the formula for percentage loss. And from the formula, percentage loss is equals to the loss over the cost price times 100%. Don't forget that this loss is also cost price minus the selling price in case we need to find the selling price, okay? So the loss here now, percentage loss here is now 19, so we can write 19 here equals to loss, which is 11.40, then over cost price, then times 100 here. We don't need to write percentage again, since we have percentage on both sides here. Then, also we solve this. This is 19 over 1, cross multiply. This is 19 times CP, that's 19 CP equals to 100 multiply 11.40. So that becomes 1140. And from here, we can divide both sides by 19 in order to get the cost price. So divide this side by 19. 19 cancel each other here. So cost price here equals to 1140 over 19. That's same thing as 60. So this gives us 60 naira 00 kobo. That implies that the cost price of the book here is 60 naira. Okay, you are watching us at Master T Math Class. Do it to subscribe and also, give a thumbs up and share this video. God bless you as you join us. Then let's look at another aspect here very quickly, which is simple interest. It's also a topic on arithmetic of finance, which is important as far as mathematics is concerned for high school students. Okay, so do well to share this video. God bless you. Now we have something called simple interest. So this interest is always paid yearly on the principal. That is, when we have the interest as a formula, which is I here serving as the interest, which is equals to PRT. Then we don't need to put over 100 because the rate R is always in percentage. So that's why we always we always have over 100 in the formula. So here the I is the interest, the I in the interest. So P here is the principal. R is the rate, and T is time, usually in year. So that is that. Now let's look at an example here to illustrate this. We have find the simple interest, find the one simple interest, two future value, or amount that deposited 2,000 naira, that deposited 2,000 naira for 4 years, at 10% per annum, at 10% per annum. Now, from what we have in this particular question here, we have to find the simple interest and the future value, which is amount. Now, we should understand that amount A means the total money we have in the account at the end of the year. So amount now, it means that we have the principal plus the interest, the total money together. So amount is always P plus I. Then we can derive something here by substituting the value of, I. Since I equals to PRT, so we can say amount equals to P plus PRT. So in case we don't know the interest and we know PRT, so we can factor PRT and we have A will now be equals to P into brackets. Here remain 1 plus RT here. So this formula also is important as far as simple interest is concerned. Now back to this question now. Solution here. Then from what we have, the first thing we are finding is interest, which is PRT, principal times rate times time. And from this question, the principal here is 2000. So we can see that I will now be equals to 2000 times the rates is 10%. That's 10 over 100, which is same thing as 0.1. Then times time, and the time here is 4. That's times 4. And when we multiply that out, the results give us 800 naira. So we have here 800 naira 00 kobo. That's interest. That is, now this is the first question. The second question now says we should find the future value, that is the amount, and recall that amount means principal plus interest. So amount here is now principal, which is 2000 naira, then plus the interest, which is 800, which implies the amount is now 2800 naira 00 kobo. So here we have the amount in the account. Okay, so that is that about the simple interest there. Okay, so the next one here that follows this, we have compound interest. Compound interest. And when we look at the word compound, so it's just a series of back-to-back simple interest. It's a series of back-to-back, simple interest. We are not going to be handling the everything once. We take it yearly. Compound interest. So the interest rate is compounded at the end of every year. So it's compounding every year. So that's why it is called compound interest. Then let's look at an example. Find the compound interest on 10,000 naira. So let's look at an example here. Example. Find the compound interest on 10,000 naira 00 kobo for 3 years at 5%. For 3 years at 5% annual interest rate, compound annually at 5% annual interest rates, annual interest rates, compound annually. Now let's look at the solution here. So We identify the principal. The principal is 10,000 naira, and we have the time t, that's 3 years. So we are dealing with 3 years, and the rate r is 5%, which is 0.05. Now look up. Okay, from here, actually, we take these 3 years. We will not take it once like in the simple interest. So we take it, we break it down into 3, so that it's going to be in form of 1 plus 1 plus 1. Then we have 3. So which implies that for year one now, we are going to have interest 1, that is I1, will now be P1 RT. That is, from here, P1 is the initial principal, which is 10,000 naira, then times rate, that's 0.05, then times t. T now will be times 1. So t is 1 now. So I1 here will now be equals to interest in year 1. When we multiply that, that's give us 500 naira. So interest for year 1 is simply 500 naira, 00 kobo. And also, okay, we move to year 2 now. And the first thing to find for year 2 is the principal. So P2 now, we need to find the principal for the year 2. So P2 is P1 plus I1. So we had the principal for the year 1 and the interest for year 1. And the principal for year 1 is 10,000 naira. Then plus the interest, that's 500 naira. And it implies that P2 is now equals to 10,500 naira. That means I2 now, interest for year 2 will now be P2RT. That is, multiply the principal, which is, 10,500 times rate, which is 0.05. So this gives us 10,500 times 0.05, then times t here will still be 1. So we are taking t11, okay? And which implies that the interest for year 2, high 2, is now equals to 525 naira, 00 kobo. So we are done with the interest for year 2, right? Then now for year 3, the third year, which is a final year, we are to get P3. Then P3 will now be P2 plus I2. Principal for year 2 plus the interest for year 2. So principal for year 2, that's 10,500, plus the interest for year 2, that's 525 naira. So when we add this together, that gives us 10,000. Yes, that gives us, sorry, that may P3, they become 11,025. So here we have 11,025 naira, that's P3. So which implies that I3 now will now be equals to P3 times R times T. And T is still 1, okay? R is still 0.05. So that means when we multiply I3, will now give us 551 naira, 25 kobo. So this is I3. When we multiply this, P3 times R times T, T is still 1, okay? And we are already in the final year from here. We're already in the final year. So we have 3 interests now. We have the I1, interest in the year 1. We have the I2, interest in the year 2. And we have the I3, interest in the year 3. And it implies the final interest now, which is the compound interest we are finding. The compound interest I we are interested in is now equals to I1 plus I2 plus I3. So we add the three interests together. We'll add this together to this and to this. And that will give us, 1,576 naira 25 kobo. So which will be 1,576 naira 25 kobo. So that is that. Okay. So in this class, let's stop here, and when we meet next class, for instance, if the year given is like up to 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years, there may not be need to use this long, process. There is a formula which we apply. When we recall from the formula for, simple interest, we say amount under simple interest is equals to P, A equals to P into bracket 1 plus RT. This is for simple interest. But when we come to compound interest, we can still use, formula to get the amount. This is simple interest, okay? For compound now, amounts for compound is similar to this. So we have P into bracket 1 plus R. Then this T here is outside, this bracket at the top. So raised to power T. So which implies this here, we can get the amount. With this amount formula, we can get the amount here directly. And once we get the amount from the relation we have as well, once we get the amount now, since amount equals to P plus I, so we can get the interest now by taking P here, and we now say A minus P now will now be equals to interest. So interest I, which is a compound interest, can now be amount that we get minus the initial principal, which is 10,000. So we are still going to have the same thing there. I believe you enjoy this class. So subscribe for more videos, and we meet in our next class. And thank you for joining Master T Math class. I appreciate you all. God bless you. Have a wonderful day, and bye for now.